Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are unsheathing one of the greatest tales of adventure, conspiracy, and friendship ever told. We're heading back to 17th century France to dive into the legendary story of the Three Musketeers.
So let's set the scene. The year is 1625, and our story kicks off with a hot-headed young kid from the countryside who shows up in Paris with basically nothing, just a beat-up sword and a whole lot of ambition.
And this kid, our hero, is named D'Artagnan. He's from a region called Gascony, and he's got all the pride and fire they're famous for. He might have a noble family name, but trust me, his wallet is completely empty.
He literally rides into town on this ridiculous-looking old horse that practically screams, "I'm broke." All he has to his name is a letter of introduction to the captain of the King's Musketeers and, well, some pretty intense advice from his dad.
Yeah, so his father's advice is basically, be brave, be bold, and never, ever back down. And D'Artagnan, our young hero, takes this advice completely to heart, maybe a little too much.
I mean, within hours of arriving, he somehow manages to pick a fight with the three most legendary musketeers in all of Paris, Athos, Porthos, and Aramis. But right as they're about to duel, the cardinal's guards show up to arrest them, and in that moment, D'Artagnan makes a choice. He fights alongside the musketeers, and right there, in the middle of a sword fight, a legendary friendship is born.
And this brand new friendship, it gets put to the test almost immediately. You see, there's a huge secret at the very top of the royal court, a secret so dangerous it could drag all of France into a war, and our guys are about to be thrown right into the middle of it.
Here's the deal. The Queen of France, Anne of Austria, is secretly in love with the Duke of Buckingham, who just happens to be from England, France's biggest rival. And as a token of her love, she gave him 12 incredibly valuable diamond pendants that were a gift from her husband, the King of France. Yeah, it's a move so reckless it could cost her everything.
Now, a secret this big never stays secret for long. The brilliant and cunning Cardinal Richelieu finds out about the whole thing and spots his chance. He goes to the king and suggests, hey, why don't you throw a huge party and ask the queen to wear those lovely diamond pendants you gave her? He knows perfectly well that they're across the English Channel. It's an absolutely perfect trap.
So the queen is in total panic mode. Her honor, her life, and the peace between two nations are all on the line. Her only hope? D'Artagnan and his three new friends. Their mission sounds impossible. Ride to England, get the diamonds back, and return before the night of the ball.
So the four friends ride out of Paris together. All for one and one for all, right? They're ready to take on the world for their queen.
But the cardinal's spies are everywhere. The first to fall is Porthos. He's proud, and he's easily baited into a pointless duel. He gets wounded and has to be left behind. And just like that, they're down to 3.
The attacks just keep coming. Not long after, they're ambushed, and Aramis is shot. He's too injured to continue. Now there are only 2.
And finally, Athos gets framed as a criminal counterfeiter and has to go into hiding. Suddenly, D'Artagnan is completely alone. The entire mission, the fate of the queen, it all rests on his shoulders.
He makes it to London, he finds the Duke, but you're not going to believe this. The Cardinal's top spy has already been there and stolen 2 of the diamonds. But the Duke of Buckingham pulls off an incredible move. He literally shuts down every port in England, trapping the spy, and has his personal jewelers work around the clock to make 2 perfect copies. D'Artagnan gets them, races back, and saves the day just in the nick of time.
So you've got to be wondering, who is this spy? Who is this agent who is so good she almost took down the Queen of France? Well, it is time to meet the true villain of this story.
Her name is Milady de Winter. To the public, she's a gorgeous, charming noblewoman who seems completely innocent. But in reality, she's the cardinal's most dangerous weapon, a spy, an assassin, and a master manipulator.
I mean, she's the one who stole the diamonds in the first place. She leaves a trail of ruined lives everywhere she goes. But all her lies and schemes are hiding an even bigger secret, a secret that only one of our musketeers knows.
It's Athos, the quiet, mysterious one, who finally reveals the truth. Milady is a convicted felon, and she has the proof branded on her shoulder, the fleur-de-lis. How does he know this? Because a long time ago he was her husband, and he was the one who sentenced her to death after he discovered her criminal past.
Now, Milady is humiliated that she failed to stop D'Artagnan, so the Cardinal gives her a new mission, one that's all about revenge. Her target? Go back to England and assassinate the Duke of Buckingham.
But D'Artagnan manages to get a warning to the Duke's brother-in-law.
Milady is captured as soon as she arrives in England and locked away in a castle, and her guard is a man named John Felton, a deeply religious Puritan who is thought to be completely incorruptible. They think.
But you don't just lock Milady in a room and expect her to stay there. This is where she is at her most dangerous. She sees Felton's strict faith not as a barrier, but as a weapon she can use. She pretends to be a fellow Puritan. She spins a horrifying story about how the Duke abused her, and then she convinces Felton that it is his holy duty to kill him.
And her plan works perfectly. Felton is completely twisted by her lies. He comes to believe he is an instrument of God's justice. He helps Milady escape, and then he walks up to the Duke of Buckingham and stabs him to death.
Milady gets away scot-free and flees back to France. She goes to hide in a remote convent to wait for the cardinal's next move. But in a truly awful twist of fate, it's the very same convent where D'Artagnan's love, Constance, has been hidden for her own safety. As D'Artagnan and the Musketeers finally close in on Milady's location, they have no idea they're actually racing toward a terrible tragedy.
This sets up the final tragic confrontation between D'Artagnan's love and Milady's hate. And that's the big question, isn't it? Will D'Artagnan and his friends be able to save Constance in time, or will Milady's poison claim one final innocent victim? And that is a story for another time.